So now you've probably cut back a lot of the material and you might feel that there's not really a lot to your essay. So you're looking for things to put in. The first thing to add is your thesis. If your essay is not saying anything strongly or pushing a particular argument, that's something that needs to be fixed. The thesis should be a part of every paragraph and it should lie in this particular essay in the conclusion sentence. You want to include the concepts of textual integrity and universality in your thesis, because remember, you're always trying to prove that your text is a classic. Your whole thesis can't be, my text has universality, okay? It must be much more specific. So you might start with, my text has textual integrity and universality because, but then you must have quite a concrete answer. So it might be because you think that the central character is relatable to by everybody, or that the themes in particular, perhaps family issues or violence, are really important. Whatever that is, it must be part of your thesis, and you must remember to enforce that idea all the way along as you're going through the paragraphs. Another great thing to add in an essay is techniques and quotes. So go back through your text and your notes and see if you can pack more techniques and quotes in. So if you've only done State Explained Support once per paragraph, you might decide to do it 2 or 3 times. You should try and improve the quality of the techniques and quotes that you've chosen to by making them more detailed or more relevant. Try and remember, a quote should be 5 words or longer. If it's shorter than that, you can probably do better. Go back and look for a better quote. Jargon. So when you started writing your essay, you might have been very new to this topic, but now you might know more about conventions or techniques than when you did that planning. So you should add in context or genre-related jargon that you know, anything that's going to make you sound more sophisticated. So maybe terms like Jacobean, post-colonial, magic realism, all those wonderful buzzwords that you might have picked up along the way. You also want to substitute in more specific terms for general ones. So rather than just saying imagery, could you say extended metaphor? So think really carefully about it. And of course, when you're being critical in a critical or close study, specific is always better. Techniques like metonymy, caesura, anaphora, and anadiplosis are obviously going to be more impressive than just sticking to image, metaphor, that kind of thing. Make sure you've emphasized all of your techniques with a good State Explained Support structure. Don't forget that quotes must always be close to the technique. Don't have the technique at the beginning of the paragraph and the quote at the end. You want to make sure that there's a nice logical association there. Phrasing. So phrasing is the art of arranging your language carefully so that it has a rhythm to it and it becomes clear and more interesting to read. You want to keep the main points towards the start of sentences. If in doubt, you'd like to shorten the sentences. And make sure that you have a brand new paragraph for new ideas. When you're reading someone's essay that they've written in an exam, it can be hard enough to get through the scroll. So don't just indent to show when you're starting a new paragraph. Make sure you leave a full line and start again afterwards. Use exciting adjectives, but again, maybe not engaging or insightful. Vary the lengths of sentences. So short sentences for emphasis and long sentences for building to a point, keeping in mind that the human brain usually enjoys a pattern that goes long, short, long, short. And try and alternate between the sentence types, especially if you know you favour one or the other. Long sentences are almost always the bane of essays. They encourage you to waffle. If you can't say it in a short and clear way, think about a way to simplify what you're trying to say. Literary background. At every opportunity, you want to reinforce the point you're making by considering literature context. So could you relate this attitude to Victorian values or to postmodernism? Keep those ideas in mind because it makes you sound more sophisticated and generally more like a critic. Any cultural understanding that you might have should also be mentioned where relevant, particularly in discussions of things like characterization. So if you know a little bit about medieval values or humanist values, you might want to put that in as well. Critics, text types and reading frames. So this is something else to think about, which is often, again, neglected in your essays. Emphasize your discussion of text type features. Add quotes from critics and considerations of minority reading frames. Try and do that with an air of understanding. Make sure you use it comfortably, and that might require you to do a little bit of online research or to look back through your notes or even to go back and view some of our videos again.